I'm not sure where my microphone is, so we're just going to use the good old laptop microphone for tonight, which will do just fine. All right, so what are we going to be doing? Let's find some Reddits. Maybe create one. All right, sign up. Go ahead and hide the screen just for a minute here. I'm having to do some captchas of cars. Okay. Oh. That's creepy. Okay, so it's already identified all the Reddits that I should be interested in and joined me to them based on who knows what, cookies likely. So while that's convenient, it's also very creepy. Okay, we'll check that later. Suppose I could update my profile or not. Profile moderation. Whatever that means. Can't even. How do you change your profile? Who knows? Would have to be in here, right? No. Maybe up here. User settings. There we go. Avatar. Banner image. Ta-da. Boom. So now if we go to my profile. There we go. That's what I like to see. Alright, let's see. Let's check out some of our communities. I definitely love Go. Love me some JavaScript. Want to learn Haskell. Love Rust. This seems like it would be a dumpster fire. Twitch. I don't know about that. Check out some web dev. See if we like it. That's not a great start. Cool. Oh yeah, so it's Hacktoberfest. We're 10 days into Hacktoberfest. See what's going on with Hacktoberfest. So this year DigitalOcean is doing Hacktoberfest. And Dev, I think that's Dev.to. Can we find out? As participants long before we became partners. Okay. Who is this? Ah. Yeah, Dev.to. Just like a dev community we should definitely check out Dev.to as well. We should create an account here. I forget how to do it. I think it's like encouraged posts. So like you'd have to write a post, and then we could sign in with GitHub. Terminal dash, yep, perfect. Hey, Bronx. All right. Yeah, code of conduct, terms agreement. How's the buffering today, Bronx? Is it any better? I don't want to receive new weekly newsletters. No, I don't want that. It's just spam. About myself. Okay. No worries. Let me know if it doesn't end up being great. USA. What would you call the title? I don't even know. Live streaming. Ha! Okay, so Rust. Let's do some Git, some machine learning, some Flutter, comp sci. I guess SQL, WASM, testing view. Why not some web dev and accessibility? Which A11Y, right? So if you were to Google accessibility, right? So if you do a letter, I guess we should do this with Python. Just count. Okay, so inside of Python, let's get into Tmux. There we go. Okay, so inside of Python, if we do accessibility.count, count takes one argument. Okay, so count accessibility. Count is not defined. How do we count? String.count. Oh. And then we do what? The substring. Okay. Accessibility. Holy crap. How do we do this? Just string.count substring. Oh, that. Okay. Yeah, I thought that's what I did. Do I have to do like that? There we go. Okay. So that shows 14. If we look at A11Y, so if we were to take, should be, hang on. Did I spell it wrong? One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Why is it saying 12? Did I miss something? Two. So nothing is 1? That's weird. Can we just do like a size? Oh, length. Length of, yep. There we go. So if we take off y and a, we have 11, and that's why it's a11y. It's dumb, but that's the way it is. And they do that with like pretty much any word. So like W-O-R-D would be W2D. And that's just how that works. Okay. Tangent. We want to follow some TypeScript. I'm going to avoid Kubernetes. I'll do some DevOps though. Go, Docker, Python, Bash. We have to. Ubuntu, blockchain, open source, Dart, Vim, of course. Get some C++ in there, some Linux, JavaScript. Might as well throw React in there. All right. Here's some people we picked for me. Okay. Canadian software who thinks he's funny. Okay, I don't like a lot of these people. For now, you know what? I can always remove them later. So we'll just select all. Okay, part of the community. Join the welcome thread. Write your first post. Read all the top posts. And oh no, customize your profile. What's the welcome thread? Hola. Salut. All right. Leave a comment below to introduce yourself. You can talk about what brought you here, what you're learning, or just a fun fact about yourself. Lots of people seem to like that. I wonder where Dev.to is founded. Where are all these people? Oh look, it took all my info from GitHub. That's cool. Oh, infinite scroll. I'll never get to the bottom that I want to be at. See this stuff? Why have that? Okay, so down here at the bottom, there is a footer. You can just never get to it. Okay. No worries. Maybe if I go to like my profile, my dashboard, I can get to it. Okay. So about. Okay. Where are you from? Created in 2016, based out of New York City. Of course they are. They're going to be successful, for sure. Great posts. Cool. Might as well throw an old follow on them. You have to have your swag sender, you know, swag around the globe. All right. I want to see my dashboard. I like how there's like no branding for like your own stuff. I think that's kind of neat. Oh, there is. Put our Twitch on here. Well, I mean, we got to have black and white, right? So this, okay, this is cool. So if we look into this, inspect this element, so what you have here is, can I do this? I don't have that set up. Oh, hang on, we gotta fix that. So on our keyboard shortcuts, left half, I thought I had left third, but we'll do right third. That, okay. So we'll put this over here. All right, so over here on the right, you see this input, and you see, where's it at? Type text, no, I want to look at this here. So see this type color? So when I click this, I actually get a pop over, right? And this is its own window that you can sort of move around and see on its own. But you can also close it or maximize it, right? And if we look at MDN for the type attribute, if we jump to our attributes, we'll see type, where is it? Okay. Where is it? Okay. Input type. Here. Okay, so the form input type has available types. Color is one. For HTML5, control for specifying a color. Colors Picker UI has no required features other than accepting simple colors as text. And if we look into it, we can see the spec on color. And it'll basically use the OS's styles for the color picker. Yeah, so this is an OS specific thing. So OS X has decided this is the color picker they allow. And it's really nice on the devs because you don't have to worry about implementing that. But we'll do that. I guess that's just their logo, which is fine. It's mine too. Okay. Education, yes. So many URLs. Which URL? Boom. They don't have Twitter on here? That's crazy. Guess it makes some sense. They have GitLab but no GitHub. Crazy. They're taking some stances here. No Twitter, no GitHub. Oh, but you can connect your Twitter account. I guess we'll do that. Cool. What? But there's no mention of GitHub. I wonder why. Oh. Did I just close that? Yep. So if we Google, why does Dev.to not use GitHub? Gotta include GitHub, guys. No clue. Integrations, notifications. No. Oh, see, I'm glad I went here. Email when somebody replies. Sure. Sure. Okay. All that's good except the weekly newsletters. Publishing from RSS. Posts will land in your dashboard as drafts, and then you can publish from there or give Dev.to admins permission to do so. Okay. Oh, cool. That's neat. Okay, organization. Join an organization or create one. We could create terminal bash. Because we're an organization, right? No reason not to be. Oh, and here we can put our Twitter. Oh, and here's GitHub. I knew it had to be somewhere. Had to be. Text color is going to be white. Background is going to be black. Website URL will be Twitch. I feel like we just did this. And we'll just leave the same summary. I guess I should have signed up as moi, but I'm not going to do that. This is just a chunk, or a quick blurb indicating or link that shows that you clearly are associated with this organization. I mean, I am live streaming right now on you can watch back and see me type this. Growth. Oh, slug is taken. Did I take my own slug? I did. Whatever. That should be. Profile image. Well, I didn't mean it to be. I wanted it to be this. Yay! Okay. Whoa, that text is huge. I don't know how I feel about that. Oh, wow! Hide. I don't think you could see it all. I have to make sure. Oh no, you couldn't even see close to it all. Okay. I'm still going to generate a new one. I should hide that. We should rotate this regularly. Yeah, well, I agree. Term organization size. Okay. Cool. Enough for now. All right, so we're on here. Close all the things. Oop, needed a. We'll post into this later. For now, I just want to check out what people are doing. Legit get concepts, not commands. Interesting. Hey, how's it going? Welcome back. Welcome back. Good to see you. Right now, we're just perusing Dev.to. We're going to be checking out some Reddit stuff. We might be doing some katas here in a little bit, but I'm open to suggestions as well. Interview study guide for software engineers. This is good for beginners, for sure. We can look at that if anybody's interested in it. 9 projects you can do to become a front-end master. It's with Angular and Vue and React. Okay. HTML can do that? CSS can do that? I'm kind of curious about the CSS can do that. Break across multiple lines. We can retrieve values of selected elements in CSS by using ADTR. Helpful with accessibility purposes. So let's look at the HTML. So we give it an ARIA label. So it's just the ARIA label. Where's the ATTR? CSS? ATTR. Oh, cool. Oh, cool. That's neat. So you can have this content. So there's going to be a span before. This is called a pseudo style, and basically we're creating an element on the element, this span here. So you won't see anything but the span, and then just any span is going to have this content. So if we created another span, oh, I can't actually modify this unless I go to CodePen. So CodePen is a great site for sort of prototyping things out, demoing stuff. Test. So if we do this, and then I don't know, that should have worked. Oh, it did. Okay, so here you see test, but it doesn't have an ARIA label. So if we did an we could say ARIA label test, and now this will say test, and this will say art. So that's pretty cool, and that's just this attribute here and the value test, and then over here in the span before we're referencing as the content the attribute ARIA label. Do I want to see the comment you made on a post that gave you around 720 karma before I posted the comment? I have 517 karma. Is this on Reddit? Sure. Send it on over. I have exactly 0 karma on Reddit with Terminal Bash because I just signed up today. No, see, oh, sorry, 1. Start with 1. Not a development platform. If this were a development platform, that'd be 0. Yeah, so no karma for me. No fake internet points here. Community chat rooms? What is that? Sub chats. I don't know if you're allowed to post links in this chat, though. Not sure about that. Well, R Scala. I don't want to join Scala. There we go. These members. How do I... Hang on. Decline. Who invited me? Whatever. Wow. This is actually pretty terrible UX. Okay, so... Oh, what? Okay, so you gotta click in the top right to get chat that appears at the bottom right. Then I have an invite that I decline. And it's like, hey, this chat will be deleted. You sure you want to do that? I am. And I just can't click it. I don't know if you can post links. If you get really clever, you can definitely get what looks to be close to a link posted, and I can figure it out from there. I've been chatting in a new window. I don't think I want to do that. Okay, so I think now, yeah, okay, now it's done. All right, so if I look here, r/subchats, is this just like all the chats in the world? No. All right, it's bugging me about email, so let me go verify that real quick. Just in my email, hiding the screen. Okay. All right, we're good to go. There you go. I like snake. All right. Oh, look at that YouTube source. Gotta learn how to take those out. I don't want to be tracked. You know what I mean? Relatable. Relatable. Like snack. So for infinite loads of stuff. Like snack. People agree. Boop noodle. The nope rope. Does anybody nope rope? Nope. I'll nope rope for you. The good old nope. Nope rope. See that meme? Nope rope. That's a nope rope. Nope rope and danger noodles. It's good amount of karma. Good amount of karma you got there. Ah, that's funny. I see why you said it, Snick. I get it. I get it. We could put Ruby down too. I guess Ruby's fine. It's not Rails, so we're good. Coffee. That's funny. 2.3 GPA. Harsh. Harsh. I'll leave the page. Did I close my CSS? Can do that? I didn't mean to do that. Okay, so hover. I have a feeling this looks much better in Chrome. But hey, you can't make it look good in Firefox and Chrome, then I don't care. Also this. Original filter. Oh yeah, I know about those filters. That's cool. That is cool. Is that a blur? Blur 1 pixel. What happens if we do 10? Cockroach in your room and you can't sleep. Kill the cockroach. Yeah. Or take it outside. One of those two. It's just a bug. Drop shadow filter. Well, yeah. Drop shadow to the input image. And you could also, so if we were to edit this in CodePen, you just be like, boom. Be sharp. Is it 0? 0.1. There you go. It's like a sharp edge. They're both unrelated. These are just facts of life. Got it. They seemed related in the sentence. You can see my confusion. Blend mode. That's cool. First, second, third. And it just sort of offsets them. And then you just got first, second, third. And then you put all of them as absolute position. And then just... That's neat. That's a neat little style. First letter is rad. Yeah, shape outside. Nice. Writing mode. Yeah, no, I know about writing mode. Why didn't they... Okay. I was like, why didn't they include an example? Yeah, boom, boom, boom. It's like so many like style tools embedded in CSS. CSS can be really cool. Gradient text, very neat. But this, see, that's the problem here, is it's the WebKit flag. Mapping the room. Yeah, they're little computers. So there was the worm simulated brain that we made. A worm brain in a Lego robot body. Here. Hoping to copyright. Why am I looking at an ad? No, thank you. No, thank you, Joma. Yeah, so this is a real neuron by neuron worm brain operating inside of a little mini Lego robot. And I'll link to this in the chat. It's kind of neat. Anyway, I don't want to get copyright by Wall Street Journal. You know what I mean, so I'm going to close it. It is crazy. It's very crazy. But worm brains are like the simplest thing we can simulate. Any more neurons, and it starts to be computationally impossible or improbable for us to be able to handle it even with modern technology. It's going in big circles. Yeah, I mean, you could like plot. It's a computer science problem right there. Try to figure out if there's patterns. Smooth scroll snap. Oh, this is cool. You scroll, and it like scroll jacks. How does that work? So it's Flexbox. VH. So let's look up what CSS height VH is. Vertical height? Viewport height. Okay. So like viewport height. Do we have like an image that will illustrate that for us? Right? So yeah, perfect. So it's like your viewport, like this screen right here, like what I'm seeing is the viewport. And then there's other, like the page height and everything else. So this is saying 100% of the viewport height is the body. And the body, if we inspect, oh God, here we go, is this whole thing. And then we've got spread, wrapper by scroll snap, spread love, not hate. It's a good message. So what happens if we did like, oh, we got to go to CodePen. Always have to go to CodePen to modify these. So if we were to change this to 110, would we see a modification? We do. It's kind of weird looking. Hang on. So I think it's just 100. I'm not sure. Let's read more into that. MDN viewport height. Yeah, is there a good way to hide scroll bar in CSS? There absolutely is. I'm not sure if it's cross-browser. Yep, so this, overflow hidden. So, for example, if we, was it available on this one? Yeah, it is. Okay, we'll mess with this one. Apparently, I need to refresh. Are these ads? They're ads. Wow. Don't know how I feel about that. All right, so let's look at this. So the body, we just want to say overflow hidden. Oh, is it wrapper? Overflow hidden. There you go. It's hidden. But now we can't scroll through it, right? So we'd say CSS hide scroll bar, but still scroll. It's going to be like scrollable. Overflow scroll, and then WebKit scroll bar. It's all in this WebKit scroll bar, unfortunately. Yeah, there are usability guidelines that basically say, hey, if you're scrolling, you need to show the scroll bar. But it's just more guidelines, really. It's not a hard, fast rule. So let's play with this. Right, so if we don't, what was it before? Auto, and then we just put WebKit scroll bar. I guess that would just go up here. What does that go on? Okay, so it's an appendage to that. So b.wrapper. I mean, that should do it. Do I have to do a space? Maybe it's not supported in Firefox. Oh yeah, Chrome, Safari, WebKit, scroll bar width none on Firefox and IE. I mean, that's what it should be, right? So this isn't going to be cross-browser at all. So I probably would recommend this, but there you go. So scroll bar width none, and then we can still scroll. Does it look exactly like what it is? Because that's what it is. Unhealthy, I don't know. It's not comfortable. It's fine. It's perfectly fine. Yeah, I don't have more of a streaming setup yet. Maybe someday. Maybe if I get the 50 followers, I'll get a more official setup and tell them we're low budget here. Got to keep it affordable. All right. I'm curious now. That's funny. It looks totally comfortable. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, so that's scroll bar. What was this? Viewport height. Yeah, we care about this. Viewport. Okay. The height, CSS descriptor, shorthand descriptor for setting both min height and max height of the viewport. So go back. VH. I don't know where this definition is. CSS VH. I want like, okay. So CSS Tricks is an awesome site. Basically, if you're ever curious about what you can do in CSS, this is the place to find this information. Check out their articles. Yeah, it's just awesome. All right, so W3C has CSS values in units, module level 3. We care about viewport height. Okay, yeah, so it is a percentage. So it's 100 of the full viewport height. 10 VH will resolve to 10% of the current viewport height. So there you go. And then there's just some flexbox magic, but like that's not needed. Maybe that's some like cross-browser stuff. Column no wrap makes sense. Can you do a negative border radius? Oh, so that it would curve in? I don't think so. Let's find out. We'll do the wrapper. We'll do border. What is it? 1 pixel black. Forget how to do this. Is it black 1 pixel? CSS border. Border. Did I misspell it? Border. 1 pixel black. Ten pixels black? Yeah, alright, let's look it up. Border. Border. Oh, solid. There we go. So then if you did border radius 10, so then a negative, no. So what we can do is CSS curve radius inward. Ah, they're like, use a linear gradient. What does this do? Whoa, cool. How the hell is this working? Well, all right, let's inspect this. It's all in header after. Okay. Okay. What is happening here? Crazy. Okay, so we're like creating a background after it. So yeah, you could create a shape after the content, but can you have more than one after? I'd have to look into it. You basically, it's not supported directly. You'd have to futz with CSS to get it to work. Okay, so we're done with this one. I grow wary of it. And that's it. That's all you can do with CSS. I did hear something cool about CSS text, or CSS grid text layout. Box alignment in CSS grid. Common layouts. I heard about someone using like straight up just like text in a shape to achieve what they wanted. I'm aware. I'm aware I could. Um, we'll see. I'm limited on space. I could also set up in the other room where I've got like a bar top and chairs. I just wanted to be on the couch. CSS grids are crazy. Holy cow. How much content is there here? Pretty cool. Such a small amount of CSS to do that. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that's what you can do with CSS. What can you do with HTML? A searchable, drop down with searchable text. Cast. How do we do that? No CSS? No CSS. But we can get rid of all this, and it'll. Oh, God, open it up in CodePen. Still works, right? Cool. So what is this? We've got like a placeholder, a data list, and then we say, hey, call your data list this, and give it all these values, and then you could like, if you were doing view, you could v4 and just iterate over all your options from a database, populate them in here, and then it'd be like really, really responsive feeling compared to like going out, doing a request, getting that, and then having some custom component show these. Yeah. Cool. Didn't know that. Dialog bot. Or like a modal. I always want to just get rid of all the CSS. If you say I can do it with HTML, then I shouldn't need CSS. What about this? Do I need this? Yes. Add event listener, set attribute open. Why do all of the visual issues in websites have to be impossible to fix in inspect element? I don't know. I mean, it's not necessarily true. Like, so when you're in inspect element, you've got your source here that you can modify. So like, I don't know, font size 10 pixels will make it, huge, right? But then you can also go into a file. Whoops. Whoa, that was cool. What did that do? Toggle print media simulation. Wow. No, you can go into a file. How do I do that? How do I do that? I don't remember. Make this a little bigger. Is this what you're talking about? Why I can't figure this out? I do like Chrome's dev tools better than Firefox's, but I'm just familiar with them. Okay, so a style editor, right? And so in here, I can be like, create and append a new style sheet to the document. Boom. And then I can target whatever I want in this. So I could be like, body, display, none, gone, right? And then you could do literally your styles just like this. You get done with that, and you have a couple of choices you can make. You can either save this, and then save it as a CSS file, or you can create mappings to CSS files that you already have on the site, so on and so forth. So, oh, Major, well, it's because a lot of the times on like YouTube, um, they go through a build process to even make that site. So like JavaScript and stuff gets bundled together using Webpack. Um, SCSS, like SCSS tools like this, SAS, are used to compile CSS down into um, really small files that are consumable. And so, yeah, the files that you're modifying aren't the source files. They've gone through a compilation or a build step and transformed into something new. Um, yeah, so if you look in the documentation here, if we look at syntax, I want like nested. Learn SAS. Yeah, so this is pre-processing. Is what it's called. And so yeah, while you've got your SCSS here, SAS doesn't have like semicolons. SCSS does. SAS also doesn't have uh, curly braces. Or yeah, and SCSS does. And then it compiles into CSS. Now you can do nesting with SCSS and SAS. So you can have a nav element and the UL nested inside there, but CSS doesn't allow this. So you go through a preprocessor and it builds it into the prefixes UL with nav, which is the CSS way. When I think of SAS, I think of a woman named Karen wanting to speak to the manager. Yeah. I mean, all sorts of people can be sassy. But SAS itself, yeah, I don't know why they picked. Yeah, the branding is interesting. She probably wears these glasses. Like, let's be honest, right? I think that's what they're getting at with that. It's probably like low-key sexist, but hey, what can you do? Maybe it's not even low-key. I don't even know. Yeah, so that's nesting, modules, right? And bring them in, use base. So that's a pretty cool way to build out your CSS. It's really, really feature rich. All right, we're going to leave this page. Okay, so we can do dialog boxes. Progress meters. Oh, that's cool. And then you just modify the meter over time. Well, that's neat. How'd they style that? Huh. Progress and meter. I guess that's just default styles. That's cool. Expand and collapse. Animated? No. Okay. So, how's that look? Details. Open. So there's a built-in details element. And we could probably animate this. Whoops. Let's experiment, right? CSS animation. Starving, send food. There's a cockroach. There is a cockroach. Plenty of protein. Don't eat the cockroach. Don't eat the cockroach. Yeah. Boom. This. See what happens. So on, we just have something with details. We'll just be like, boom. Over 3 seconds, I want you to slide on in. Let's see what happens. Okay, let's Google a little better. So HTML detail element animate. I think you just name anything detail, right? Oh, details. Do we have like an, yeah, open. And then we just change the background. But can we animate the open? What? Open summary? I'm just going to start animating everything. Everything animates. Send you food via chat. I don't know if we have food emojis. Here, nom. There you go. That's your food over chat. You get a cookie. You get a nom nom cookie. And yeah, see, they've got details. So on open, animation, sweep out, and then keyframe it. I don't know if we need to keyframe that. Let's find out. So it should be on this. Here's this link. Oh, okay. We're going to keyframe it. Oh, that's not exactly what I wanted. Anyway, I'm sure it's totally possible. I guess I could just sweep. All right, since we're here, we'll sweep on everything. There you go. Not yet. What else do we have? Slide in. We'll slide in. Wait. I think it's this one. Margin top. Top. That's what I'm talking about. Boom. And top will be like, why don't we do height? What happens if we animate height? 0. Oh, that's all weird. Okay, so then I can take sweep off of the summary. How do I take sweep off that? Get rid of this. Should just be on that one, but I guess not. Why? Anyway. Scary in the kitchen. Kitchens aren't scary. Unless you set a fire in your kitchen. In which case, yeah, I'd be scared too. Alright, moving on from that. Correct mobile keypad based on input type. Oh yeah, this is great. So it's like, I'd have to show it on the phone. Basically, like, not enough places use this. This part is super important. So, input mode, numeric, will show like Android numeric keypad. So in Android, you get this bad boy instead of this, right? What? Yeah, here. So default numeric, keypad. Do keypad. If that's all they're entering is numbers, then keypad is the way to go. All right. Yep, color picker, we talked about this a little earlier. Boom. Color picker. Highlight text. Oh yeah, you just do a little mark on it. Create a direct phone number link, ref to a tel, and then the browser interprets that. If you're on mobile, it'll make a call, or it'll open up the app, and then you have to hit send. Show deletion and insertion of text. Yeah, strike through, and that's just going to be insert, delete, and you can probably custom style those. Yeah, exactly. And then you just name it. Ooh, what? Content editable. That's cool. Pretty neat, eh? Cool. All right. 9 projects you can do to become a front-end master in 2020. Nope. Chat app would be cool if we use like sockets. Yeah, Pusher is a WebSocket service. So this is a for-profit company, right? And as such, their software can cost money, but you can start for free, right? And like nothing here is saying, hey, pay, right? You're going to see pricing anywhere. You don't even see it mentioned, right? So you can either sign up for free, or if you're a company, you can pay. We're going to just sign up with GitHub. Now you've made me hungry talking about food. Right, so app name, we just say terminal bash chat. We'll just put ourselves in North Virginia. What is this? Oh, sure. What is our front-end tech? What, view is not an option? Guys. I guess I could do it in React. Backend tech. What do we want to build it in? Python, Go, JS. Okay, so JavaScript or Go. Would it work if you made the worst website design and posted it on mildly infuriating? I mean, not if it were the worst, but if it were mildly infuriating. Yeah, I think that's the point. Get some points off that. Anybody in chat lurking? Which would you rather see if I ended up making a chat app using Pusher? Go or JavaScript? No Snick. No Snick. No Python. I could do Python. Might as well. Snick. Can I choose multiple? Oh, Snick. Oh no, I hit skip. Dang it. Oh well. Yeah, so you can choose all these different languages, and you can use pusher to push with them. I can do that. I can do that later. Weather app, that's pretty cool. Be fun. I don't really have a good design tool anymore, like a good open source design tool. Try to keep all Terminal Bash free, right? So that anybody watching can download these tools. They're not inhibited by any cost barrier, and they can get started. This looks open source tool helps execute everything from the right sketch to a complex plan. Do you link to them? Shame on you. Inkscape's pretty decent. It's a vector editing tool. GIMP, I don't know how I feel about GIMP. It's okay. High-level 3D engine for Python. Exporting and importing tools for Blender. Cool. Screenshot is alright. Pencil. That looks fun. FontForge. Nice. Blender, of course. Would the stuff be open source? Everything I'm going to do is going to be open source on this channel. Yep. There's no reason for me not to have it open source. I guess, I mean, Inkscape and GIMP are it. And so there's this fork that they're, but it's such a bad name because this isn't even right. Glimpse. GIMP. Glimpse editor. So there's this fork of GIMP because they'll tell you here. For now, not a lot. Downstream fork of GNU image manipulation program. Less problematic name because GIMP is offensive. So they wanted to fork it and call it Glimpse. I actually like the name better, personally. And also, like, if you go to GIMP's website, like, it's pretty sucky logo. And, like, the Glimpse logo is cool. So, yeah. I don't know. Ooh. I forgot about that. I forgot about Scribus. Just need to contribute all of your CSS. Yeah. Keep the contributions going. So this is like a desktop publishing software, like Adobe InDesign, so you can make books and pamphlets and programs, etc. Swatchbooker. Read swatches from these different programs. I'm sure. I guess just to look at them. Inkscape. Do I have Inkscape? Of course I do. Probably out of date. What's Krita? Oh, I'm gonna hide the screen real quick, just in case. Okay, this is real. Free and open source painting program. So I judge by this. So Krita, GitHub. Yeah. Great. Okay, so this thing, this is like a Java window. I can't resize it very easily. I can't resize it at all. This is it. It's life. Okay. Well, I'm going to close that because it's eating my computer. Let's download this. I like to hope that all of this stuff was created using Krita. All the artwork they're showing. That'd be cool. Okay. Let's doing that. For artists who want to create professional work from start to end, Krita is used by comic book artists, illustrators, concept artists, matte and texture painters. Bronx, you might like this. Cool. This actually looks like a pretty solid tool. Okay, so new file. Sure. Wow. It's amazing. How do I zoom out? Pinch zoom? Ah, thank you. Okay. So, like, I would need a stylus, right, if I really wanted to get into this. Also, yeah, I mean, that's pretty responsive. Can you do, like, curves? Oh, yeah. Okay. I'd like to close this now. Boom. Pretty cool. When I make a shape like this, does it just add to the current layer? Yeah. I wish it maintained an idea of it as an object, right? Instead of drawing pixels on the layer. Like, just keep it as an object, render it, and then, like, if I want to merge it into a layer later, I can. But I'll check this out. I might use this instead of GIMP for certain things. I really don't know yet. Write 200 lines of CSS in no time? I mean, copy paste, baby. Okay. Close this. Close this. I'm going to check out Pusher later. What else would they want us to do? Svelte. Okay, so Svelte is like a front-end framework. I don't like this cybernetically enhanced web apps. Like, what the hell does that mean? But they don't use a virtual DOM, and a virtual DOM is just like a JavaScript object that is used to track the state of what the DOM should be, and then on the next render cycle, apply that. Truly reactive, no more complex state management libraries. Svelte brings reactivity to JavaScript itself. So, Svelte components are built on top of HTML. Just add data. So this is Svelte. The Svelte extension means there's going to be a build process. You end up with this JS generated for you, all for a hello world. Well, you got to show that cockroach who's boss. You got to just flick it away. CSS component scoped by default. No more style collisions. Vue has that too, right? But that's cool. Trigger efficient granular updates by assigning to local variables. Okay, so on click, handle click, count. Okay, and JS, it builds all the stuff for you. Built with beautiful UIs, powerful performant transitions, and toggle. Ooh, baby, that was nice. So you brought in fade, draw, which does all that. So all those transitions are in there. In the style, where do we specify the transitions? Okay, here. An SVG, and then in the SVG we just attach our out fade, in expand. That's cool. Right on that SVG. When do I start development? That's a good question. That's a good question. What would you like to see? I can do a little. I could do like a code kata or something real quick. I'm probably gonna head out here in about 30 minutes. All right, let's close some stuff here. Get back on track. This is a by request channel, you know. What language do you want to see if we would do these? Pick a 7Q. Keep it simple for me tonight. Oh, O-ring arrays. Currying functions. That's going to be a JavaScript one. Some odd numbers, that's easy. He says confidently. Redacted. All right. O-ring arrays. Started as a discussion with a friend who didn't fully grasp some way of setting defaults, but I thought the idea was cool enough for a beginner kata. Binary or, okay, each matching element of two given arrays or lists, if you do it in Python, vectors in C++, of integers, and give the resulting O-red array. Starts to sound like a tongue twister, doesn't it? Kind of. If one array is shorter than the other, use the optional second parameter O. Parameter O. Defaulted to 0 to or the unmatched elements. I don't even know what I just read. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Or arrays. I'm not even sure what this is. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We end up with 5, 7, 7. 5, 7. That would be 9. Thought the idea was cool enough. Binary or each match. Oh. Okay. So this is a bitwise. So like, I'm not going to do bitwise tonight. I'm going to do a whole stream on bitwise. To complete this kata, you need to make a function multiply all, which takes an array of integers as an argument. This function must return another function, which takes a single integer as an argument and returns a new array. The returned array should consist of each of the elements from the first array multiplied by the integer. That seems easy enough. React is okay. I think React is fine. I like Vue better personally. It's simpler, it's cleaner. It took a lot of the learnings of React and built it with that in mind. So like, you've got Redux for state management in React. Well, you've got Vuex, right? So that's paired there. React has hooks now, which is nice, but that's just getting around the idea that communicating between components is difficult. Ultimately, it goes Vue first, React second, Angular third, and I'll figure out where Svelte fits in later. Okay, so given a triangle of consecutive odd numbers, calculate the row sums of the triangle from the row index, starting at index 1. So 1 is 1, 2 is 3, 5. Okay, so it's just row summing. It's easy. Meanwhile, somewhere in the Pentagon basement, your job is to compare two confidential documents that have come into your possession. The first document has parts redacted, which means blacked out, and the other one doesn't. But the original unredacted document might be fake. So compare the two documents and decide if it's possible they are the same or not. Possible. Okay, good. I was like, I don't want to do optical image recognition. So basically, what does it mean for something to be possible? So return true if the two documents are possibly the same. Each document is made of any visible character, space, punctuation, and new lines. Any character might be redacted except for a new line. The redaction character is an X. Redacted document is always the first one. So yeah, so it's like, if these characters, the length of this character matches this, and all of the characters from here are redactable, then it could match. So like professor 1, 2, 3, 4, whereas over here it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This should be false. Right. And that's all. That one's pretty easy too. Which one do you want to see? Do you want to see, I can do any of these three: multiply all, sum of odd numbers, or redacted. Give you a moment to decide. No preference? I think I'm going to do redacted is easy, right? That's just some substring stuff and some counting. This one, they're all kind of pretty easy. Maybe I could just do multiple. So I'm going to do this in JavaScript. So oops, shit. I'm back. see real quick if I missed anything. I did not. We're good. Left blank ultimately for unlimited creativity. Okay, cool. Thanks. So we're gonna make a directory for multiply all. Should do something like username, PIN, password for login system. I mean, you don't really need a PIN. You can do it for added security if you want. It's actually reduced security though. If you just have a PIN, it's way easier to brute force just a PIN, right? So if they've already logged in and you've got like a trusted device, then they could have a PIN. Make sure you hash your passwords. Use like a SHA hash. Never store passwords in plain text. And yeah, so when they create the account, usually you send like a token via email because we assume that they can trust their email at that point. And they verify their account there, and that activates their account in your application, and that prevents people from joining and spamming. And you can also use like some form of verification, like Google has reCAPTCHA, and there's other verifications that don't use Google. It's probably an open source one, like open source reCAPTCHA. What am I saying? Seems to not really be much in the way of a system for that. Yeah, the PIN being hashed is fine. The only problem with the PIN is if it's like four letters, or numbers, 0 through 9, right? Then you just have to brute force. It's like a lock. You just go one by one for all the combinations, and it's way less than a password would be. So like you could brute force that thing in like minutes, if not seconds, you know, on a good computer. So I'd be careful on the PIN. Okay, so cd to multiply all. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a couple console logs. And we're just going to test this, right? So we're going to have a function called what? Multiply all. Right, and we're gonna make this just a closure, and it's gonna take in, what did it say? An array of integers. Take in integers. You have to enter your password and your PIN to get in. Why not just use a password then? Like, is a PIN always? Is it sometimes? I just don't know that you need both. The PIN would be there for convenience, like on a device that already has a session active and stored in the browser. Then if they navigate away and come back, you put the PIN there, so they have to at least know their PIN to access their account. So like picture leaving Gmail open on a public computer, and like you're logged into your Google account. Somebody just goes to Gmail and they're in your email. Well, if you're navigating back to it, it could say, hey, we know your session's active, but go ahead and enter this PIN just to prove it's you. It's an extra layer of security in that moment. it beats having to retype your password, and it also beats somebody being able to just go to your Gmail account. I'm actually shocked that they haven't done that to this day. Must return a function. So we're going to return just a function. And the function that what? Which takes a single integer and returns a new array. Okay. Don't know how to do that. Yeah, I mean, I'd have to spend some time thinking about it too. That would be a pretty cool little project, though. Let me do that real quick. I'll cd. Do we have like show notes? In the stream ideas. Yeah, I use Vim for my editing. Another great open source piece of software. So ideas for stream, we could do password for login, pin when inactive on tab for 1 minute. Things that we would need a database, authentication / registration, time out component, pin component. Only if session is still valid. We can do that in like view. Okay. So fundamentally, what do we want to do? We want to console log should be 2, 4, 6. And then we're just going to multiply all and pass in 1, 2, 3. Does it just multiply by 2? Should consist of each of the elements in the first array multiplied by the integer. Oh, so 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 3. No, it's 3 times 2. Multiplied by what integer? Okay, so they have, they just pass in. I'm so confused. Oh, it returns a function that you call, right? So it'd be this times 2. Yeah. Yeah, I get it. Nano, you only prefer Nano because you don't know Vim. Between the two, when you know Vim, it's Vim hands down all the time. For VS Code, whoops. And I'm talking even for, I don't think I have VS Code on here. Let's get that. Even for quick edits, Vim beats Nano, right? Because like, so for example, we'll create 2 things here. And we'll do Vim, and we'll do Nano, right? So I'm in Nano, I can just type. Well, I'm in Vim, and and I can type. Now, in Nano, like, back doesn't do anything, right? So I have to arrow over. There's no way for me to navigate other than arrows. In Vim, I can just hit B, 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 you know, like, I can go to the beginning of the line. I can go to the end of the line. I can create, 10 new lines, right? I can go to line 10, so like shift 10, and delete those lines. In Nano, it's just like, this is what you get. And you have to sort of like hobble your way around inside of it. Personal preference, though. I don't want to save that. Yeah. Anyway, jump off my soapbox on that. Vim is rad. VS Code is my favorite editor that is a GUI. Crossbow, hello, welcome to the stream. We're doing a code kata right now. I'm also downloading VS Code because I realized I didn't have it on here. But we're just going to use Vim to solve these. So, if we were to take 3, 1, 2, and multiply that by 3. Oh, sorry. I actually wanted 3, 1, 2 here. Inside of this. There we go. And then by 2. And we'll do that. Oh, sorry, that was by 3. What was this one? Yeah. Something like that. Biggest problem with Vim is you are a pain when you don't have it. Yeah, that's true. But the best part about Vim is Vim-like software, right? So the pain is pretty minimal. So I'll demonstrate that. I do have Visual Studio Code. Let's throw that in applications. I already have that there. Stop. Oh, I think I was typing VS Code. But if I type Visual, there we go. So inside of here, you just go to plugins, you look for Vim, right? You install Vim emulation, and then you can go ahead and let's just open a folder. Get code words, multiply all. Let's just open this bad boy. And then in the index, so now I'm in Vim mode, right? So I got Vim. No, I'll get on that for now. Inside of Visual Studio Code. And the cool part is, like, if I make a change here, like say I wanted to have 1 inside of here, I can still hit colon. You can see my command down here. And I can just say W. And then I can do Q and just close it. I go back over to here. And if I just edit this again, there it is, right? So I never have a problem. I can Vim everywhere. Like even in the code katas, right? I've got Vim mode right here, and I can just turn Vim on and operate as if I've got Vim. Be like rad, back, go to the end, insert, back, right? Shift V, X. Yeah, so Vim bindings are great. All right, multiply all. So we're taking in our integers, and we're returning what? A function. It's like a map. This takes in a single integer and returns an array. Okay, so array of integers as an argument. Function must return another function which takes a single integer as an argument and returns a new array. Okay, so yeah, basically inside of here we should just be able to say we can map, right? Return integers.map, and we'll take in our integer I know that many things have Vim plugins, emulation, but what if you edit some Word document or you're on somebody else's computer? Don't use Word. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, it does suck to do any sort of word processing without Vim. But at the same time, like, how many years did we use computers without Vim? Like, I found Vim pretty late in my development career, so I'm fine to go back. It's not really that big of a deal. And if I'm on somebody else's computer, usually it's another dev's computer and they have Vim. So if anything, I could pull down my dot files real quick and use them, or I could just use vanilla Vim pretty easily. You wanted to learn assembly for a week, and then I found out it takes a huge teams to do what I thought, or what I want to do, and then I stopped trying to get myself to learn it. Yeah, I don't know if I would learn assembly. ASM is assembly, yeah. ASM programming. Yeah, assembly. Yeah, no. Like, really, WASM, WebAssembly, is the future for web stuff. And then if you want to do like assembly type stuff, that probably means you want to do systems programming, and you would be better to learn Rust. Rust is a pretty cool little language. Nope, Rust lang. Yeah, this one. Multi-paradigm system programming language focused on safety, especially safe concurrency. And I've got some videos up, so I'm going through the Rust book and learning them. You can look back on my YouTube channel on Terminal Bash and see what I've gone through. I think I'm up to like chapter 8. It's a great little language. Or you can just learn C++, which is good too. Different, but good. There's also NIM. NIM is an imperative, general-purpose, multi-paradigm, statically typed systems compiled programming language. It's kind of like Python. If you like Python, you're going to be familiar with the look of how NIM is laid out, but you get all sorts of cool things like types that you can create, all sorts of different data types that are probably new to you if you're coming from Python. And the cool part is it also has a bunch of like C bindings. I don't know where it's at right now, but I need to get back to my kata. So we're going to map over this, and we're just going to say inner integer can I make an OS and Rust fast? Define OS, right? Because like, if you want to be able to install it on another system and you don't have Linux installed, you don't have Windows installed or OS X installed, then I don't think there's anything considered fast. Let's look at Redux. I'm sure this thing is massive, right? If it's an OS. So this is half of its makefiles. Where's the Rust? Oh, it's all submodules. Yeah, this thing is going to be huge. So anyway, and it's only 0.5. All right, so JavaScript map. Can we access integer from in here? Console.log integer. We get code words multiply. Multiply all. Invalid left hand assignment. on line 11. Oh, we don't need that anymore. So we're getting 222. Yeah. So we can totally access this in here. So then we would just return out of the map inner integer times, we'll say, our multiplier. Nope. And there you go. 246,936, right? And then we just take this and paste it. I'm going to turn off Vim mode actually because I don't need it for right now. We'll run our sample tests. They'll all pass. We'll attempt this. It'll pass. And we'll submit. Before I do that, because what I'm doing is very simple, I could basically do this. And then the returns are implicit. I don't need that. Okay. There. This is a one-liner. Okay, we can even get more ridiculous. All right, you guys tell me what you think about this. Here's your one-liner. I don't even know how to let's set no wrap or set wrap. Oh, okay. What you mean by fast? You make it in short time, or is the OS be best written in Rust? I mean, in short time. Why have a virus be written in PHP before? Huh? I don't know that I understand that last question. All right, so here's your one-liner. You have a constant multiply all that's a function taking integers that returns a function taking multiplier that returns an integer map taking the inner integer referencing the inner integer times a multiplier. That's your unreadable one-liner that I'm actually going to submit because I'm going to be that guy tonight. I feel like all the solutions in Java or JavaScript end up in one line. Why, have you seen a virus written in PHP before? I mean, it's define virus in that scenario, right? Like, is it just a script executing on a remote computer? Okay, this guy is doing it way simpler. AX A.map. Oh, well, it's not way simpler. Right, so I didn't need this. And then I didn't need this. So that's like AX. And then he mapped A, took an E. And yeah, I don't think that, that's how I solved my problem. I'll never find mine. Yeah, everybody solved it the same way. Oh, I did find mine. Look at that. Okay. Yeah, some sites are developed in PHP. Quite a few on the web are PHP. And you can write PHP and exploit them if you can somehow get that PHP code to run on their site. Multiple ways that could happen. All right, so that solution is done. Let's do one more between these two, sum of odd numbers, where I have to go over each row and sum the rows, and I have to interpret the string. Or do I do the redacted one, where basically I try to see if the character length here matches the x's. Which one should I do? To see if these documents match, possibly. I know Kung Fu. I know PHP. Yeah, PHP is the language, one of the languages I first learned when I was programming. It gets a bad rap. People don't like it. It's a scripting language, and it sort of evolved into a more feature-rich language over time, but it has a lot of the legacy of the past to deal with. It's not a very sexy language when people talk about languages. Like, no computer science student is going to learn PHP first. They're going to learn, like, Java or C++ or C, and then they're going to move likely to, like, JavaScript or Rust or Go or Scala or any, I don't know, Kotlin. Like, PHP is, like, last on the list. They'll learn Python. Maybe PHP is even below Lua. Alright, I'm just going to solve this one. Train. Alright. So, I need to know how these are coming in. So if I could just console log in, that would be great. Oh, I see. I see. So that's just going to be 142. I have to build this kind of idea. Okay. That's a little harder. I thought I was going to be provided the string. Nah, it can't be that hard. It's a 7Q, right? Alright, so make directory sum of odd numbers. Okay, so first thing I want to do is console log, and I just expect one from row sum odd numbers. Yeah, I use plenty of languages in Code Wars. Right now, the two that I've been using primarily are JavaScript and Go. I could also do Rust, Python. I don't want to do PHP. I want to avoid that at all costs. I have like a whole list of languages that I support and can write in. I should put that in. I'll put that in my Twitch description. Also, no matter what old programmers say, Perl is not the same as PHP. No, I agree. Definitely not the same as PHP. Like, it makes up more than half the websites on the internet. Relax. Yeah. I mean, PHP has its place, man. But it's definitely not the most fun language I've ever written in. Like, after writing in a bunch of different languages, PHP is, like, probably my least favorite language to write in. Okay, so let's... What is that? Do 4088. Cool. All right, so now we have to think about how we're going to do this. So we can probably employ some modulo here. So like 1 modulo 1, does that give me? Okay, cool. 2 modulo 1, what 1 modulo 2. So 1 is odd, 2 is even, 3 is odd, 4 is even, right? So, and then the row will be where we start. Is there a clever way to do that? So row is equal to an array for, yeah, we could just build out the row at the time. Why do web hosts tend to use PHP? Okay, that's like asking, okay, hang on, how do we analogize this? Why do people build gas stations? Like, why not just build a bunch of electric stations? Well, until recently, there were just gas cards on the road. So, like, where's the money at? Electric stations or gas stations? You're going to build the gas stations, right? Yeah, PHP is there. Well, PHP was very, very popular before WordPress. WordPress is there because of PHP and its popularity. And now PHP is sought after by new devs so much because WordPress is so popular. It's a great entry-level sort of work. Yeah, so people build the infrastructure for the thing that's popular, right? And when that changes, or if that changes, new infrastructure will sprout out around the new popular thing, wherever the money can be made. Okay, so in dot, we could create a map. Map? Sure. Integer. I dislike WordPress for a lot of reasons. So WordPress was made at a time when PHP didn't have classes. It didn't have any sort of abstract class. Well, maybe that's not true. Maybe it did have classes, but it definitely didn't have namespaces. You couldn't extend things. I don't think there were classes because everything's like functions and hooks, and the WordPress API is like horrific, and everything's very procedural in WordPress. Yeah, it's like WordPress is to PHP as Rails is to Ruby. You kind of have to know WordPress in order to be successful with it, just like you need to know Ruby or Rails to be successful with Ruby. Yeah, it's like turnkey, right? They like to set it up and do some content management. They install themes and install plugins, and then just start building up just massive amounts of technical debt very quickly. But they just need to sell their stuff, right? That's why companies like Wix are so popular now. All right, what do we want to do with this? I don't know why I'm mapping a single integer. I could create like a 4. Index is equal to 0. Index is less than 1. Then index increments. Right? and then row dot, what is it, just push. Index, right? So we got one row. We start at 1 less than or equal. So we push in our index. Now we've got 1 in there, and then we can sum. We don't even need. We could probably just call this sum, and we'll just say sum plus equal to index. Let's see what we end up with that. And then we need to return sum. Okay. Wow, that's a big number. Facebook and Yahoo are two websites that use PHP and are popular. Kind of. So Facebook created a hack, right? Which is, okay. This was before PHP 7. This was back in the PHP 5 days. And it's basically PHP, but in what they call a hip-hop virtual machine. And yeah, Facebook definitely uses many languages. Facebook uses React, right? And has all sorts of libraries and stuff. But I think what he's saying is like Facebook was made on PHP. And then since then, they've left PHP basically because performance, security, probably those two are a great example. Also, like the developers at Facebook aren't going to want to write PHP all damn day. You know what I mean? They're going to want to stretch their legs. So like now you've got, instead of PHP, you've got HH, which is annoying. And you had like const, and you could give an int. Like it was so far ahead of PHP at the time. And look, generics. Holy crap. PHP with generics. Generics are huge when you're architecting solutions. So yeah, they left PHP behind. See, Facebook open source. Ta-da! Copyright 2019, Facebook Inc. They're all about it. And you know what? They pushed PHP forward, so I'm glad for that. All right, so we pass in 42, and let's be more reasonable. Let's pass in 2, right? And if we pass in 2, we expect 3 and 5. Yeah, because 1 is odd, 2 is even, so then 3 and 5. Yeah. So am I doing this right? Yeah. 8. But we get 36, right? So why do we get 36? Well, we pass in 8. Just want to know use React and PHP together. How? Do you want to know how they use React and PHP together? I can explain that if that's what you're asking. Let's console log index while we're here. Okay, so that makes sense, right? And then if you sum all those together, so basically we need to say it's not that the index, we'll figure out the for statement a little better here, but if index modulo 2, then we want to move to the next index. And get rid of my console log. But we can already see that we should be getting odd numbers here. Oop. Oh, sorry. Can we do that? No. Would 3 do it? No. How do I flip this? There we go. Okay, so how do you use a front-end technology and a back-end technology, right? It doesn't matter what the front-end technology is. It could be Vue, it could be React, it could be Angular. Back-end could be PHP, Python, Rust, Go. That's all that matters, right? And here's what you do is you operate over an interface or a protocol, right? So when you're on the web in a browser, you're going to operate over hypertext transfer protocol, or ideally over a secure encrypted channel, which would be, so hypertext transfer protocol is HTTP, and then the S is secure, so an SSL certificate that encrypts the traffic, so HTTPS. And what you do is you just make a request over HTTPS to the backend. Well, you need a general data structure to do that, and that's where something like JSON comes in. So you take all your data, you put it in a JSON shape, a JSON string of text, and you send that to the backend. And the backend receives that, along with any authentication headers and any session cookies that it needs, and it consumes that. It says, okay, let me parse this JSON and look for the data that I need to do my job, whatever that data is. And then it does its job. And when it's done, it's going to send back a response code like 200 or a 400 or a 500 or a 300 for redirects. But it can also send back its own data. So if it needs to communicate data to the front end, it's going to send over JSON as well. And then the front end is going to get that as a response from its HTTP request. And it's going to have a body with that request. And it's going to read that JSON, parse the JSON, and then decide what to do with it, right? So they fundamentally, React knows nothing about PHP, right? It just knows I'm sending data as a string and I'm expecting data back as a string. Meanwhile, the backend server says I'm awaiting data as a string and I'm returning data as a string. And that's fundamentally how those two can communicate over HTTPS. You can go ahead and go back and watch that part of the stream later to sort of try to consume it, and feel free to ask questions in here. All right, so 13579, we need to know that if n is greater than, well, this gets weird. I could substring. I don't want to have to build up the string up to this point every time, but I could. And just have it. Oh, 3 has 3, 4 has 4, 5 has 5, and I'd really just need to set the start. And it'd be 2. Yeah, I can just build this thing up. So at what point? So if it's 3, I could do a decrementing. I just need to build up to that point. So what does that mean? What's the difference between these? Is it growing? 6. Okay. Yeah, I mean, what we'll do, let me add this to the stream idea. And we just need a simple backend, and a simple front end that communicate over HTTP. And I'll do that. I'll probably do that. Let me elevate this one. We'll do this first. And I will do this. Oh, I need to go. I need to get some sleep. I will do this next week likely on Tuesday. And we can really quickly set up a back end front end communication. Okay, I'm trying to think of a clever way to make this work. 1, 3. Could I mod? Without just generating all of these. That's the hard part. It says given this, but I'm definitely not given that to make it. I can always tell when I get tired because I get like right to this part of a problem that's pretty simple, and I just like, you know, the brain just locks. All right, so let's fix this. So while one, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're just make an object, and that object is going to get pushed into for each iteration. How do we want to do it? So let's just go up in here. While triangle dot length is not equal to n, right? So 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then that'll keep iterating, and we'll say, we'll just have an index out here of 1, and we'll take this logic, right? All right, so we'll increment the index if we need to, and then while so inside of here we need another let row equal an array. A while and a while, we're getting bold here. While row dot length is not equal to n, same shape. Then row dot push index, and then down here we'll say triangle dot push row. Then we get done with that, and we console log row. And we'll just return an empty array for now. Could probably find a tutorial for it on YouTube. Sure, you definitely could. You can find anything on the internet, right? But we're right here. So if we just do it here, you can ask questions in real time, and we can arrive at a consensus. But like, if you take it absolutely, like between now and next Tuesday, if you get the time and go and Google your way out of the problem, more power to you, right? But if you don't, right here next Tuesday, we're going to solve it. I don't need some. I think I can const these. Yeah, breaking stuff. Row is not defined. What line? Oh. I meant to do triangle. There we go. We're not incrementing. Yeah, we could do React to PHP. For sure. For sure. And then, like I said, you can apply this to anything. When we're done with it, you can put Python as a backend. And we might even demonstrate that. Like, just change the endpoint and post to PHP with one, Python with the other, and get the same response back from both. Okay, so index is 1. Oh. Did I do that in a while or something? I would only expect to see 2 of these. Oh, I probably do. Expected 1. Yeah. So we end up with 1, and then it's like 4. What am I passing in? 8? No footsteps. I have a snoring dog next to me. That could be that. Okay, so we come into this sum. We create an index of 1. While the triangle length is not 1, so it's 0, we create a row. If the index is not modulus 2, basically if it's even, make it odd, and then push index into the row, and push the row into the triangle. Then wrap around. Why? Are we ever getting in here? Nope. No, we're not. Oh well. Hang on. Duh. Push the index in and then increment. You only increase index when I is odd. Are you not need to increase it every time? I do. I definitely do need to increase it every time. Yeah, I'm just getting tired. Okay, so now we can console log triangle. Talking about in your house. Yeah, I know. I agree. I hope that is not footsteps. It's probably just cockroach, you know. 1, 2, 3, 4. Are we still not getting in here? Oops. We're not. Let's fix that. So we need to go into Node and we need to figure out how to make 1 modulo 2, right, is truthy. 2 is false. So I would have thought, like, if we, how do we bool cast this? True. So if it's true, if it's 2, oh, There we go. Lots of nopes. Means we're good. Okay. Now we don't want this to be 4. It's actually more than that. It's the 8 because I said end. But it's actually not in. So 1. So it'd have to be incrementing with each one. Cockroach bandit on the loose. I mean, if you really think about that, that works in your favor. Because he's going to come in and just take the cockroach. And then you're good. Oh, I need another index. So, right now this is like the worst code I've written in my life. If row length is less than row index. All right, so we're on the first row. Row length, sorry, no, that stays. Right? No. So for the first iteration, so index. First iteration through index hits 2. That would always be increasing. Oh, so tired. Somebody save me from myself here. I'm creating indexes where they don't need to be. This whole while in a while thing is pure madness. If it's the first row, create 1 letter. If it's the second row, create 2 numbers. Might be back later. If not, see you next week. Yeah, sounds good. Take it easy. I probably won't be back or be on for much longer. I might just give up on this kata. Just because I'm tired. I might pick it up tomorrow on my own time. I just don't like the solution at all. I don't think I'm thinking clearly about the problem. 1, do 1. 2, do 2. Row, that length. So this first one, basically we should only increase the index at the end here. And then number index, just say integer. Alright, so index is 1. Well, it's not 1, push index in, and then we'll just start at 1, right? Push it in and integer increases. If integer is even, make it odd, and push it in. To constant variable. Crowsbow it. Go ahead and you can do a follow too. If you like what you're seeing, me struggling through this, you can see it a couple times a week. Okay, this looks good. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We did it. We just need to not use index and instead use integer. And there we go. 1, 1, 3. That should be 3, 5. So integer is getting reset each time. We don't want that. Right, we want that. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, 19. 13, 15, 17, 19. So we just build that up, and then we need a sum it, right? And then we just sum the row. So we build it up to the point that we need it, and then we would just do okay, triangle which one do we care about? In dot map integer. We already got integer above, but we can override it in this context, I think. What do I want to call it? We'll just call it inner int integer. And that's just going to be, for each one, we return, well, we actually want to reduce this, right? And then our inner integer is going to start at 0. And we're just going to return inner integer. Reduce of undefined. Okay, so let's find out what triangle is and what in is. 1, 1. Oh, minus. Okay. There we go. 8, we expect 57. So, is that true? Hang on, let me look. We expect 8. We got 57. In was 8. Oh. We want to pass in 2 to get 8. Oh, and then it needs to be return this is plus the value. There we go. Let's go ahead and submit this really terrible code. Run samples. Don't fail. Yeah. Attempt. Bingo. I hate it. Submitting. How much you want to bet there's a one-liner? It's gotta be. This is how long it takes to submit JavaScript ones. Oh my god. What was I thinking? Wow, I way overthought that. Okay. In cubed, because that's a cube problem. That's embarrassing. Let's do that. So node, so 1 times 1 is whatever. So what this would be 2 times 2 times 2 is 5 or 8. Yeah. 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. Which would be this. Yeah. Simple maths. So let's fix it. Math dot power of n. Into the third. Const is equal to n. Boom. Which one's better, that or n times n times n? I think the first. Don't know why I didn't think about powers. I think I was just so caught up in the data structure, like the triangle, I didn't even think to cube. All right. Oh, then power symbol. I like that better, actually. In power 3. Yeah, super clean. Okay, So he's like 1, 3, 3, 1, 43 equals b in n squared minus n plus 1. Sum of one row is given by Sn. It's doing all this stuff. Blah, 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 blah. Dot, dot, dot. Oh. Done. That's funny. He could have just, he was so close. Then he looped as well, or she looped as well. Math Pow. Yeah, okay. Glad I'm not the only one. I wonder why there's multiple names here. Like, can you collaborate, or did they literally write the same code? See, they did the same thing. Then they did a 4, and another 4, and they could have just... Yeah, okay. I'm not the only one here being stupid. 4, 4, F. It's funny. Alright, guys. So, I think that's where I'm going to end the stream. Successfully completed that kata and realized that there's way, way better ways to do it. Yeah, so probably going to do another chill stream like this at some point next week. And then we're going to do the front end in React, back end in PHP as requested, and show how those two can communicate with each other. So until next time, have a good morning, evening, night, wherever you are. Bye.